Hello, 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 everybody, and I am in a very good mood because we are 95% complete on GitHub for 0.160. That is the latest Bitcoin Core wallet release, and they actually are writing this will be the release of Segwit Wallet. This is a really big deal. These are milestones, and this is, I think, one of the biggest milestones in Bitcoin's recent history, possibly in all of its history altogether, because a lot of people think that Bitcoin has been the same for 9 years, and therefore an altcoin that came out in 2017 or 2018 has 8 or 9 years of newer technology behind it, newer tech, when that's not the case at all. There was 0.150, 0.140, 0.13, 0.12, going back for 9 years. And updates in between that. I could show you them at bitcoin.org. Oops, bitcoin.org. This is really important because just because bitcoin4.org. Just because a coin is released recently doesn't mean it's has newer technology. These are all the releases of Bitcoin Core going back to 0.11.0. This shows that except for the ledger, the actual blockchain that shows each transaction from the Genesis block, Bitcoin has changed every single cell in its existence with new cells several times. And the Bitcoin Core release that's about to come out, 0.160, that's a big one. That's a really big one. It is absolutely a milestone. There's a reason that they have the celebratory image. We're 95% complete. Usually it's between 3 to 6 months before a new release comes out. And when they have, for example, 1.5.0 came out, then 1.01 came out, and then 0.15.1 came out. These two at the top here, they were about 1 month to 6 weeks apart, and those are minor fixes, minor upgrades. The major upgrades are what we're about to see come out, and maybe it'll take a few more weeks. There is no set deadline. It could be another month. They have taken up to 6 months before for a major upgrade of the system, but this is the Segwit one, and everything like Lightning and all these other goodies like Mimblewimble, like atomic swaps, and things we haven't even thought of yet. For example, emergent properties like atomic swaps on the Lightning Network all require Segwit. And just by Bitcoin Core releasing the Segwit wallet will allow fees to come down for everyone, even if you're not a Segwit user. But it will decrease your fees even more if you are a Segwit user and the person you're sending or receiving to is a Segwit user also. But even if you're not, the more people using it and more Segwits adopted, the more fees will be reduced on the blockchain, which means less congestion, but it also means developers are now getting more experience in coding in a Segwit environment, coding with the Segwit infrastructure, which means that they can work more with the Lightning Network. Because to use the Lightning Network, you need Segwit. Bitcoin Cash does not have Segwit. So, yeah, Bitcoin Cash copy and pasted Bitcoin's code. That's what they did. Literally copy and pasted Bitcoin's code and increased the block size. Now, the further we get with each release since Segwit's been implemented, they can't just copy and paste Bitcoin's code anymore. They chose not to use Segwit. They went with the bigger block size, and now they're going to actually have to develop their own code and test their own code. And when you don't have this massive community of developers and people testing code and giving feedback like Bitcoin does, we might see some traits might emerge about really just how powerful the ecosystem of Bitcoin itself is. And I think I'll let that. I'll be happy to keep updating and sharing with people how, as time goes by, the difference between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin goes. When we look at the Lightning Network, we can see up here in the top left, there are 602 nodes out now. When I started making these videos about 2 weeks ago, I think it was 250 nodes, and we have 1,532 channels. Every day it's getting bigger, and one thing I want to show, by the way, anybody can start a node. This is on the mainnet. It's not a big deal. Some people are, there's always going to be naysayers and people comparing a Lightning node to something like owning a bank, because of the hub and spoke, the fear of hub and spokes. That's not, anybody can run a node. Anybody you can run multiple nodes, and the technological barrier is coming down. There's all kinds of documents about how to do it, YouTube videos about how to run one, and I do suggest people look into it, because I think you will be rewarded, and not just monetarily. One of the still interesting thing is when we zoom out of this Lightning Network, zoom out of the main cluster of nodes, is this ring of nodes outside. See where I'm moving my cursor here. Those are all nodes, and some of them, if I zoom in, they do have a channel between them. Not many, but I'm really going to be interested to see when this outer ring of nodes, I don't know what to call it, and I'm not sure why they're there. I've been looking on the Slack channels and digging online for information about this, and the person who maintains this page, he did take a little break. He's back at it now, so you can see there's a channel here between those two nodes. But I'm really curious to know what that means. If anybody has any information, please just let me know in the comments. I'm really curious. It would also be cool to have a subscriber or two and a couple likes. But at the end of the day, I'm doing these videos because I love it. The other thing I wanted to mention is regarding price. I feel I do have experience. I've been working. I bought my first Satoshi about 2 years ago, maybe about 20 months ago, and I have worked in the finance industry. I've traded stocks and investment securities before, and I got my first taste during the 2000 dot-com bubble, trading on my own, and then later went to work in the industry. One thing that I've heard other technical analysts say when looking at charts and just transcribing some of the things I've learned trading stocks and those more traditional equities, looking at things like crypto and Bitcoin specifically, is this 200, the 50, 100-day moving averages, and now the 200-day simple moving average is this green line here at the bottom. And you're never sure where the bottom is, but looking at this green line, we hit it, and now we're bouncing back up. And a lot of the other analysts, people I admire when they talk price, because if you talk price on YouTube or in the media about Bitcoin, you can get flamed, because it's such a, if you get it wrong, everyone will be the quickest one to point out how wrong you were. And if you get it right, not many people will speak up. So I admire guys like Tone Vase when he was saying that he expects the bottom to be around 7,500. And what did we see? This is the Bitstamp chart right here. The bottom was 6,800 or so, and the 200-day simple moving average, 77.37, just around 7,500, 7,700. I never want to call the bottom, but I do think this would be a good entry point where your risk is much more limited. And I don't think, I do believe in technology, and if you look at the patterns, every time Bitcoin has gone up, it's crashed, and every time it's crashed, it's gone back up to a higher. So I really, really do think this 200-day simple moving average is a good indicator. If you look at past crashes, it has played a role at indicating bottoms, and also with the RSI. If I were to bring that up here, you would see the RSI is showing that this is a good buying opportunity, which is natural after 6 weeks of decline. But that 200-day SMI, I've heard some of the best charting people that I follow talk about it, so I wanted to mention it too, and I did do a bit of homework on it. It does appear to be a good entry point. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm an enthusiast. I really like Bitcoin. I make these videos because my wife has gotten so sick of me talking about it. But so it's not advice, but do your own due diligence and use that as something as a guide to go on. The 200-day SMA, it's very easy to add on the tradingview.com charts. It's just one of the main indicators. Just type in 200 and it'll pop up for you. And right now Bitcoin is trading at 8,620. If we're to look at a CoinMarketCap, you can see, I feel that this is probably a pretty good entry point where you could say their downside, maybe we go down to 6,000, maybe we go down to 5,000, but you're not buying at the top. And every time we've had a run, we blow past the previous high. That is something that's proven true every single time in Bitcoin. So really still what I'm most excited about is 0.160, the Segwit wallet coming out, and how interesting that it's coinciding right when Coinbase released that they're going to be implementing Segwit in the next few weeks. That those two like sort of juggernauts for transactional volume going Segwit around the same time is essentially allowing Bitcoin to shed its skin and evolve into a whole new creature, a whole new animal. And that is going to just let the Lightning Network flourish. If we think the Lightning Network's growing fast now, over 600 nodes, I can't wait to see what happens when we have high Segwit adoption. That means if we have volume like we had in December when the price was going crazy, if we have volume like that when Coinbase was having 200,000 accounts opened in a weekend, if we have that kind of volume and $50 transactional fees, that means, and Segwit's adopted, and Lightning continues to grow, if we have those kinds of fees, that would mean we have Bitcoin being used higher than it's ever been used in history, at a higher rate by orders of magnitude. That would be 4 times the higher transactional volume than ever seen before to even reach anywhere near those numbers. And I'm being conservative when I say 4 times, because in December, there was a lot of Bitcoin transactions going on. Everybody was trying to get some. Everybody was trying to move some onto their hardware wallet. The main chain was just congested completely, and there was a lot of spamming going on, which is another reason the previous Bitcoin Core release 0.151, if you click on these, you can read them. One of the things they implemented was a way to deal with spam attacks. And if nodes, when they talk to each other, peers which provide a chain with less work than the minimum chain work during IBD will now be disconnected. And you could read more about that. And that was right when Bitcoin Cash was pumping, right as Bitcoin was decreasing and everyone was worried about the 51% attack. It didn't happen, but ironically, shortly after this Bitcoin Core release did come out, maybe that did delay the release of 0.16, the Segwit wallet, which we're all very excited for because without Segwit, we can't have Lightning. Segwit is currently between 15 to 20% of Bitcoin transactions, but just this one thing alone is a game changer. Add in Coinbase, and now all of a sudden we'll have, I feel like it'll be an impetus for all the other apps and software developers to get with it. Like Mycelium wallet. Why is Mycelium not Segwit ready yet? It's reached the point where there's no excuse for this. It's been 6 months. It came out in August, I believe. Yes, Segwit came in August, and keep in mind that was after a 2-year battle. We fought for Segwit for 2 years and only got it after threatening the user-activated soft fork. Again, I want to shout out to Tone Vase on that one for demonstrating such leadership, and everybody else for the USAF. It was a game of chicken, and they blinked, and we got Segwit. Now we need to see it implemented, and there's some hurt feelings, and they're taking their time and dragging their feet, and they know that high fees are gonna, give the altcoins a higher chance of. There's all kinds of FUD and nonsense in this, but now we're really seeing. There's a reason that there is a celebratory emote icon here. This is a big deal. Higher Segwit means lower fees, which means and more Lightning means lower fees. So if we see those high fees again, that means Bitcoin is doing awesome. If we don't see those high fees again, that means Bitcoin's doing awesome too, because, well, especially if the price is going up. Because the reason the fees went up is because so many people were using Bitcoin. I want to make it clear that now we're getting more and more people able to transact while keeping those fees down. So I'd be really surprised to see $50 transaction fees again. If we do, and maybe it'll be another 2 or 3 months for Lightning to really start having some real grab, and for Segwit to really get its teeth into there and start taking a big chunk out of transaction fees. But if we do, I believe it would be related to spamming or just even more massive adoption, and that's a good thing. If we see mass adoption to the point where we have high fees like that, heck, bring it on. I'm prepared to deal with it, and it will just encourage more implementation of the Lightning Network, more developers learning how to use Lightning, more average guys like me learning how to set up a Lightning node, and moving along the learning curve. And the revolution is happening, guys, and I am extremely excited. Thank you very much. Please like or subscribe. This is a lot of fun for me. Have a great night and have a great weekend.